Hello everyone, my name is Linda Young and I am the member of the School Liaison team here at TU Dublin. I'm joined today by Dr. Jean Carolyn. Jean is the Programme Chair of the LLB in Law here at TU Dublin, TU918. You're very welcome, Jean.
Cheers, Linda. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Jean, we'll dive straight in. So my first question to you is, what is the law?
So law is a series or a body of rules that governs the relationships between both private individuals and the general public as well. In terms of private individuals, if we want to buy a car from somebody on done deal, or maybe if we're having a dispute with a neighbor or something like that, then there's a series of rules that govern those kinds of private disputes. You have the law of contracts, you have what we call torts, which are private wrongs which can be committed by one person against another. Say, for example, if your neighbor's having a party that's too loud, that can create a nuisance for you, obviously, and that's an actionable claim in law. But there are also then kind of bodies of public law that govern the relationship between decision-making authorities in the state. So when the revenue commissioners decide to tax you if they make a mistake, what kind of powers they have in that regard, and what kind of powers you have to maybe reclaim money that was wrongly taken off you. And then broader concerns about the separation of powers in Ireland, like what can the Dáil do, say, what can the Seanad do? How long are people elected to those positions for? What kind of powers do judges have? How should the president be appointed? Who can vote, and so on. So all of these things are also governed by public issues of law like constitutional law and other such topics.
Great. And Jean, within the programme itself, what modules do you study?
So I've touched upon some of them already there when I talk about contract law, the law of torts, constitutional law. These are all core modules on the programme. We call them core modules because they are modules that are central to professional qualification. So if you want to go on to become a solicitor or a barrister, whether you want to go to the Law Society for solicitors or King's Inns for barristers, they will require that you've studied certain legal subjects. And we cover all of those subjects as part of our LLB programme. So you have to take them over your 3 years, but you also then have the option to pursue certain optional modules. So for example, I'm also responsible for teaching European human rights law, asylum and immigration law. Some of my colleagues offer optional modules in family law, employment law, prisoner law and prisoners' rights. And criminology is also one of the options that we offer. So for the student who maybe wants to diversify or specialize in a particular subject, we offer those options to those, so that you're not just covering the core modules that make you that qualify you to go on for professional qualification.
Right, okay. What are the types of skills you think a student gains from studying law, Jean?
I think what we call being able to think like a lawyer is one of the most important skills, and that's one of the most highly sought after skills by prospective employers once you leave the degree. So that's the ability as a student of law to be able to approach a very complex problem, to be able to isolate the issues that you identify as part of that problem, and then to work towards solutions on each of those issues. So we like to think that legal graduates come out as very logical, rational thinkers, but also they're very, very much prized as clear communicators. Confident communicators, able to communicate clearly via writing and orally as well. If you're going to make an argument before a court, for example, you have to be a strong oral communicator. But also, we do emphasize the ability to make an argument in writing and how to strengthen your arguments. So you might find that you come out of your law degree as a person who enjoys a good argument or a good debate with somebody.
And what type of student do you think is attracted to law, Jean?
Typically, I think the law student might have a cliched reputation as maybe someone who's bookish. It certainly doesn't hurt if you enjoy reading, because there is quite a bit of reading in a law program. Usually law programs don't have as many teaching or contact hours because the student is expected to be doing a lot of reading in their own time as well. But certainly if you have an interest in current affairs, if you find that you're always looking at what's going on in politics, or you have an interest in politics, then law will certainly appeal to you. And if you have an interest in history, history is very important in telling how did we end up with a lot of these laws? Where did they come from? How did we get here? Why do we have this legal system, and so on? So law, politics, history are all quite intertwined. And also if you have some kind of interest in reading or the English language, law at the end of the day really is manipulating the English language to further your argument. So that's important to remember as well.
Okay. What types of careers do students go on to when they study law, Jean? I mean, I suppose a lot of students will think straight away, solicitor or barrister, that's my only route if I study law. Is it more diverse than that, Jean?
My first advice, or my initial advice to anybody who's thinking about studying law, is not to go in with that line of thinking that you can only come out as a barrister or solicitor. We tend to approach degrees based on what will it qualify me to do when I'm older, when I come out of college. And of course, you'll always have a safety net with law that you can go on to be either of those things. But law, the skills that the law degree gives to you over the course of 3 years, those are highly sought after by individuals in the private sector and the public sector alike. Being able to communicate clearly in writing is something that we all tend to think we can do, but actually, unfortunately, we're not as good at it as we think. So being a law graduate makes you very attractive as someone who can communicate clearly, and that's highly relevant to, I suppose, any kind of public relations opportunity or any public relations firm. Being familiar with the law obviously entitles you to go on to work in tax, compliance, the area of being company secretaries, whether you're a chartered company secretary or not. It provides a launchpad into that kind of area. You can also go into research, because law gives you very good skills in research. You can become a researcher with somebody like the Law Reform Commission, maybe an NGO like Amnesty International or Troca or something like that. So really the possibilities are endless, and it's important to focus on developing the skills that you enjoy most as part of your law degree. And after that, you should be able to go on to a range of diverse career opportunities.
Jean, I think that you've explained it really, really well there. So thank you very much. The programme chair of the LLB in Law, Jean Carolyn, TU918. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Linda.